Welcome to Unit 8.3. My name is Dr. Moses Akwa, and I'm continuing to talk about creating effective organizational designs. In this lesson, we will discuss the different types of boundaryless organizations and their relative advantages and disadvantages, and the need for creating ambidextrous organizational designs that enable firms to explore new opportunities and effectively integrate existing operations. There are different types of boundaries that place limits on organizations. The first one is vertical boundary, and these are boundaries between levels in the organization's hierarchy. So you talk about boundaries between top management team, middle management team, maybe supervisors, and lower level employees. There is also horizontal boundaries between functional areas. So boundaries that are created between different functions in the organization, such as accounting, productions and operations, marketing, HR, and so forth. There is also external boundaries, which are boundaries between the firm and its customers, suppliers, and regulators, or even competitors. And geographic boundaries, which are boundaries between the locations, the cultures, and the markets. Boundaryless organizational designs are a recent phenomenon, and this is something that has come to complement the traditional organizational designs. They are organizations in which the boundaries, including the vertical, the horizontal, the external, and the geographic boundaries, are permeable. The types of boundaryless organizational designs that exist include barrier-free organizations, modular organizations, and virtual organizations, and these we will discuss in detail. The barrier-free organization. Barrier-free organizations are an organization design in which firms bridge real differences in culture, function, and goals to find common ground that facilitates information sharing and other forms of cooperative behavior. And in barrier-free organizations, there are higher levels of trust and shared interests among participants. There is also a shift in philosophy from a focus on executive development to the development of all employees in the organization. In other words, instead of the top management focusing on developing only executives, everybody is given the opportunity to be developed so that they can play meaningful roles in the organization. There are greater use of teams, and there is emphasis on communication flows and mutually beneficial relationships with internal and external constituencies. There are advantages and disadvantages of barrier-free organizational structures, and most of these advantages and disadvantages of these boundaryless organizational structures I'm not going to discuss in detail. I'm just going to leave it to you to read them. They are very straightforward. As you can see, one of the clearest advantages of barrier-free structures is to provide opportunity for all employees to use their talent in the organization. At the same time, if you look at one of the disadvantages, it is something that deals with time and the ability to create a democratic process in how things are done in the organization. The next type of boundaryless organizational design is what we call the modular organization. And the modular organization is an organization in which non-vital functions are outsourced, which uses the knowledge and expertise of outside suppliers while retaining strategic control of vital functions in the organization. And so sometimes some of these controls deals with issues about issues that allows for a decrease in cost, also allows for the opportunity to leverage or use capital efficiently. It enables the companies to focus on scarce resources and in areas where it holds competitive advantage. And it also adds critical skills and accelerates learning in the organization. The advantages and disadvantages of the modular structures are also presented on this screen. Definitely, a firm's managerial and technical talents are put to areas where it is needed when non-essential activities are outsourced. But one of the disadvantages is also the whole idea of outsourcing. Outsourcing leads to an erosion of cross-functional skills because it doesn't allow employees in different functional areas of the organization to work together. And that is something that needs to be taken into consideration. It also decreases operational control and the potential loss of control over a supplier. Because if you outsource your activities to a supplier, you lose control over what the supplier has to do. Although there may be contracts that may be written down as to what exactly the supplier should do. The third type of the boundaryless organization is the virtual organizational design. And virtual organizations are, involved a continuous evolving network of independent companies that are linked together to share skills, costs, and access to one another's markets. And so there can be a network of, a company with its suppliers, or a company with its suppliers and customers, or a company with its suppliers and competitors, or customers and competitors. So these networks allow them to share the skills, the cost, and the access to markets. An example of a virtual organization is actually the textbook that you are using now and the supplemental materials that have been prepared for the textbook. So for example, the authors are in Texas and in New York. The editors of the work are in Illinois. The compositors are in India. And the PowerPoint authors work in South Carolina. And so they do work in a virtual environment, but in different parts. And when they do this to help them to be able to share. Deadlines are coordinated by a McGraw-Hill editor in Illinois and to pull the book together. So this is definitely what we call a virtual organization. So the textbook was written in a virtual manner. The advantages and disadvantages of virtual structures include, access to global markets, because you can use labor in any part of the world. And at the same time, you can also be able to get in contact with customers in any part of the world. Some of the disadvantages also deals with the loss of strategic control over technology, because then you have to share your technology in a virtual way to people in different parts of the world, and they may use it in ways that you do not like. It also requires new and difficult to acquire managerial skills. So it is not something that is very easy to do, but it is something that is being used on a regular basis. How do you make boundaryless organizations to work? And this is something that is definitely very important. We have seen that boundaryless organizations requires effective coordination and integration. Because if one person is working in Texas and another person is working in New York and another person is working in Illinois, you definitely need to effectively coordinate and integrate the activities that is needed. And that is why when we talk about the fact there are some factors that are needed to make it work very well. The first one is common culture and shared values. In other words, the individuals working should have common culture. They have to agree on things, and they have to also believe in what they are doing. So that is shared goals, the objectives, and the values is very important. There is also the need for horizontal organizational structures. And basically what we mean by horizontal organizational structures is to create the opportunity for cross-functional work in the organization. There is also the need for horizontal systems and processes. In other words, we need to be able to make sure that employees are working together in a way that allows them to work. The organizations will have to create systems and processes that allows for the structures to be organized in a horizontal manner. There is also the need to develop communications and information technologies that allows people to work in the virtual environments. And there also there is a need to change the human resource practices. So the hiring, the recruiting, the promotion, the development of human resources in the organization will have to be streamlined to allow for the use of boundaryless structures. One of the issues also when we dealt with boundaryless organizational designs is the whole idea of ambidextrous organizational designs. And organizational designs that attempt to pursue, in a simultaneous manner, pursue modest incremental innovations as well as more dramatic breakthrough innovations will need an ambidextrous design. Usually, they are designed to solve or break through contradictory challenges faced by organizations, and these are adaptability. They have to adapt to their changing environment, but at the same time, they have to align themselves to what is happening in the environment. And so they definitely need to deal with these contradictory things too, which is adapting to the environment, changing very rapidly, which is also unpredictable, and at the same time align themselves with how to be able to do things in the new changing environment. And organizations that are able to align themselves and efficiently manage their businesses today, and at the same time are flexible enough, to allow, the first one is align and flexible enough to adapt to changes in the environment, are the organizations that are considered to be ambidextrous organizations. And these are designs that have also received a lot of attention recently. Thank you. And that is the end of our discussions for Unit 8.